1 million machete-wielding peasants jam the square before Cuba's national capital in response to the call of Fidel Castro. It is perhaps the greatest mass rally ever staged in the Western Hemisphere, a telling demonstration of Castro's sway over the Cuban masses. Says Castro, the Cuban revolutionary government has no reason to offer explanations to America or to anyone except the people of Cuba.
The Soviet government would never become involved in rendering such assistance, unquote. That statement also was false. A strict quarantine on all offensive military equipment under shipment to Cuba is being initiated to halt and eliminate this clandestine, reckless, and provocative threat to world peace.
Havana, more than 6 decades after the revolution, wears two faces. One side, grand monuments and slogans hailing the victories of 1959. The other, everyday life, telling a very different story. I arrived in Havana curious to see how the revolution's legacy lives on, in its buildings, its people, and its streets. My first stop was meant to be the Museum of the Revolution, had it been open. This is the Museum of the Revolution, I think, and it's a grand old building. It looks absolutely spectacular. Housed in Havana's former presidential palace, the Museum of the Revolution stands as a monument to history. Yet its doors are closed, reportedly for renovation. A symbol preserved in name, but frozen by shortage. Even maintaining history here has become a struggle. I just asked the security guy that is standing outside, and he tells me that it's actually closed for restoration. And I'm not sure if they're actually doing the restoration. It might be more of an abandoned project, but I don't know. There it is, Ciudad de la Revolución. Yeah. I think maybe it's costing too much. It's quite a big building. The interior is really nice, but I kind of feel like it's been closed for a while. It's a shame. So the Museum of the Revolution is closed, but this is the memorial garden in front of it. I think they've got some relics from the days of the revolution, some notable cars, and I'm going to go and take a look. And that's the museum behind me. Since the main museum was shut, I wandered into the memorial garden next door. Here, relics of the Bay of Pigs and the long Cold War lie in the open air. Trophies of survival. A captured American plane engine. The wreck of a ship once used in the invasion. And Fidel Castro's bullet-scarred Land Rover. Turns out this was Fidel Castro's Land Rover. It says it was used by Commander-in-Chief Fidel Castro during the final stage of the war against Batista's dictatorship. It showed the impacts caused by a bullet during the Mafo battle, December 1958. Shot a few times. History displayed not behind glass, but under the Cuban sun. Before leaving, I spot a bright orange facade across the street, its massive Cuban flag hanging proudly down the side. A burst of color and pride, linking past victories
to the present day. Perhaps no figure embodies that past legacy quite like Ernesto Che Guevara.
Very nice. Hola. Muchas gracias.
In this modest house, where he once lived, now a museum, the revolution is remembered in details.
So the information provided on this wall actually mentions that this was used as a training camp as well, and as well as a museum to keep the memories of the militiamen alive. And we have another massive mural dedicated to Che as well. Just going down the corridors. So we have a little bit more about the newspaper articles and binoculars. Excellent.
One room still holds a simple bed where Che once recovered from asthma attacks.
Small, modest bed. Fidel visits Che to ask about his health state after a severe asthma attack. Take care of your health now. Everything is already done. The most important thing is your recovery. Oh, cool. Wow. This would be somewhere that they give lectures, maybe?
Another features 4 chess tables, and nod to his love of strategy as mental training for battle.
So Che's passion for chess began at a very young age. His father had taught him first moves when he was very small. Little by little he made progress, and during his medical studies at the University of Buenos Aires he played with great chess players such as Argentine master Miguel Nashdorf. It is said that sometime later during the fighting in the Sierra Maestra mountains he had a handmade chessboard.
Walking through, I realized that Cuba doesn't just remember its heroes, it canonizes them.
This right here is the Revolution Square in Havana, Cuba. There are some significant monuments around here. So for instance, behind me you can see a bust of Jose Marti, and I think there's a museum there as well associated with it. This is a very big area, as I was saying, but look how empty it is. There's absolutely nobody here. No shops, nothing. So I guess tourists who actually ventured this far out probably come with cars that they've rented or in taxis, and just take a couple of photographs and go back. I'm going to spend a few minutes discovering the area a little bit.
Revolution Square. Fidel's marathon speeches once filled this concrete sea. Che and Camilo gaze down from iron facades, while Jose Marti Tower guards the skyline. Today, the plaza stands mostly empty, except for a few vintage taxis circling for tourists.
The time is 6:15 in the afternoon, and look how few cars are going around. So it's very quiet. Not many cars generally go about in Havana. In the central part more. You also see motorcycles and sort of like these rickshaws as well. But generally speaking, not very many cars is there. For a capital city with population of over 2 million people, I would have expected to see more traffic here. But it is really beautiful. I really like what they've done with the museum here and his statue. It's glorious. You can also see some of those birds that are circling around the tower, which is the museum. And I think there is a little bit of lightning in the distance as well. Look at that. And just to give you a perspective of the location of the Plaza de la Revolución, you can see the El Capitolio all the way over there in the distance, which is probably about 3-4 kilometers away. Also, I think just now 2 cars full of tourists have arrived to check out this area in these classic cars. that a lot of tourists actually do use them. They really like it. It's a big touristic business around here. Another thing that's also quite interesting to see is that certain areas are by far more run down than others. As soon as you venture out of the more touristic places, you can see that buildings are crumbling more. But you can also see the depression in the faces of a lot of people. I think poverty is definitely something that is taking its toll on the society as a whole, and many people are suffering as the consequences of the embargoes from the United States and economic hardships. They don't seem to be particularly pleased with the government and how the wealth is distributed and the monthly wages that they are paid. And as a consequence, life has become very difficult for many Cubans, unfortunately, and that's also quite evident to see on the streets. This is quite an interesting perspective for me because you can see the capital in the distance and the rundown buildings and probably some of the streets as well in this area. Quite a powerful image.
A short walk from the landmarks, Havana changes. Many families share what were once grand colonial homes, now divided into tiny rooms called solares. Each one holds an entire family, sometimes 3 generations.
But look outside of it. There's this tiny little park with so much character. It's really nice. It just rained quite intensely for about 10-15 minutes, and then it stopped, and yeah, it's brought a really nice color to the surroundings, and yeah, it's quite tropical here. Like the humidity is really high, and the plants, well, they're thriving, aren't they? And a cat. There's always a cat. Hola. No, maybe the cat doesn't speak Spanish.
But behind every home like this, there's another struggle you don't always see. For most Cubans, even food isn't something you simply buy, it's something you're allocated. Decades after the revolution, the ration book still decides what a family can take home. A little rice, some sugar, and a little bit of bread. They call it the supply book. A small notebook every household owns. A system born from equality, now stretched thin by scarcity. But food isn't the only thing in short supply. Money itself barely moves. Even in Havana's most beautiful squares, you can feel it.
It's Sunday, it's noon, and I'm standing in one of the touristy sort of streets and squares in Havana, and there are a couple of restaurants around me, and as you can see, they are entirely empty. A lot of these establishments for restaurants and hotels are actually very much relying on tourists, but even the tourists here are sort of like not I don't think they're contributing enough to the economy for it to make a difference. Look at this fellow that is just serenading me as I'm talking to the camera. So yeah, as you can see, it's Sunday, and really hardly anybody around. It's not great. So I'm here next to the Revolution Square in Havana, and I think there's a really big bus stop here, and I'm hoping to actually catch the bus towards Havana Vieja. Catching the bus in this city is another one of those experiences that I'm hoping to have. So I don't know exactly how much it costs, but I'll get on and find out. But I'm guessing these guys behind me are also waiting to get the bus. They've been sitting there in my very broken Spanish. I tried to ask them whether the buses from here go to Old Havana, and they told me yes, it does. So this is probably the right place to wait. And there might be a storm brewing behind me as well, so hopefully I can reach my destination before it all breaks.
Getting around Havana isn't easy. I wanted to travel as locals do, by city bus. But hours passed and the bus never came.
From here, no autobus.
Directo para allá. Va directo.
To Via.
Directo. Ajá.
El autobús.
Esto te queda por la mitad.
No, not this one, not this one, but another autobus.
En otro bus.
Yeah.
En el P12, el 12 o el Transmetro.
More and more people are opting to get these shared taxis now. I wonder if the bus is coming or not. So I think this man is just getting a taxi. Again, it's one of these cars, which is packed to the rim, like many people are in it. I don't even know where they're gonna fit him. This fella wearing the basketball jersey was waiting with us for ages. I think he's given in and decided to catch one of these. There is a good, I'd say 12, 13 people in that car. So I've been waiting to get a bus for an hour and a half. And the point of this exercise that I'm trying to do today is to travel like the locals and how they get about people who are native to Havana. I've invested such a long time so far, about an hour and a half to waiting for this bus, which I'm not 100% certain it will ever arrive, but I'll probably give it another half an hour, 40 minutes, just to see whether it's possible to get it. And there are still a lot of people waiting, and these are people who were here when I arrived, so they're waiting for something. We'll see. Oh, look at the sky behind me. Isn't that just gorgeous? Wow. I was hoping to actually go and see the sunset by the water today, but here I am still close to the Revolution Square, and you can see the big monuments behind me. That's from the Revolution Square here in Havana. We'll see how it goes. I have no idea. See you in half an hour or so.
By nightfall, most people were still waiting. Patience here isn't a choice, it's a necessity.
My friend here, he tells me that he's been waiting for the last 4 hours, although his destination is different to mine. I asked him if it's okay for him to describe in a few sentences what catching public transport is like here in Havana, and he's kindly agreed. So I'll pass you over to my friend who will discuss this further.
Porque de acuerdo con lo que tú dices, tú sales de La Habana para acá, yo te digo, ¿puede estar transporte? ¿Verdad? 8 y pico, 9 la última más o menos. Entonces, y de aquí para allá tiene que poder estar transporte, ¿me entiendes? Porque, pero aquí para allá está el P, de aquí para allá para La Habana Vieja, está el P12, ¿verdad? Y de allá para acá está el P12 también. En la avenida de Reina, ahí en el parque de Reina, para el P12. Te sirve también. Entonces, aquí te estoy explicando de aquí que el Transmetro que no ha pasado y el P12 que tú lo has visto que no ha pasado tampoco. Ha pasado aquí el P2 y el P8, que eso van para allá para playa, eso no te sirve. Lo que te sirve aquí.
So as we've been waiting for the bus into the early hours of the evening now, and it started to rain.
Eventually the rain came, and still no bus. So I gave in and boarded a metro taxi, a crowded minivan that runs fixed routes for a small fee. For many, it's the only reliable way to move through the city.
So these metro taxis run in different areas of Havana. Probably it's like a minibus with about 12, 13, 15 people that can sit on it. It's for the price of 150 Cuban pesos, which I think probably is a lot more reliable than the actual autobus, the city run bus that goes around. The price of the metro taxi, which about 12, 13 people sit on it, is about 150 Cuban pesos, but I'm guessing that's still quite steep for some working class folk that need to get about. So a lot of people are still waiting for the bus. I'm guessing it's not that reliable, but maybe because of the distance it covers or how cheap it is, some people still heavily rely on it. But if you've got places to be and things to do, you probably won't be able to bank on it whatsoever. And I think the most important thing I learned is that you have to have a lot of patience if you want to use a particular service and wait for ages. Like the people I was talking to, they were waiting for 4 or 5 hours. So yeah, I think it was an interesting evening for me, really. But now I'm just hoping to be able to find some food and go back to the hostel and just relax a bit.
That night, as I walked back through Havana, the lights were out again. The blackout felt a lot like waiting for that bus. You never know when the power will return, yet people just carry on. When the electricity goes, the city slows to a whisper. In neighborhoods like this, blackouts are part of the rhythm of life. Unpredictable, frustrating, but somehow accepted. These nights say as much about Cuba as its monuments ever could. The lights may fail, but life somehow doesn't. Thanks for watching. A quick like or subscribe goes a long way in helping me keep making more of these stories.